Catcher, and welcome back to some more, well, I guess to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet update. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at all the new Pokemon that have been released since the last time I did this, which was the first trailer. So we're going to take a look at all the new Pokemon and also the new Paldean forms, and give kind of my new opinion on some of the stuff. So let's jump right into it. And let's start off with Palmy. Palmy is known as the mouse Pokemon. It is a pure electric type, and it comes with the abilities of either static or natural cure. And its entry states that in addition to the electric sacs in its cheeks, Palmy has electricity discharging organs on its forepaws. It generates electricity by rubbing its cheeks, and then shocks its opponents by touching them with the pads on its forepaws. Not only is the fur that covers its body good insulation against the cold, but it also serves as the purpose of storing electricity. When it feels uneasy, this cautious Pokemon will begin rubbing its cheeks, preparing itself to discharge an electric shock. Now, taking a look at Palmy, you would think, oh, this is just another Pikachu clone. But I think there's more to it than that. I think that Palmy will evolve into something, into another Pokemon. Now, Palmy is, of course, the electric Pika clone, but I feel like it's going to be something a little different. We'll have to wait and see. And we also found out in the trailer that was released that Palmy is the main Pokemon of your rival. So we'll see how that goes. Next one is one of my personal favorites, and that's Lechonk. It's a normal type and known as the Hog Pokemon. Its abilities are either Aroma Veil or Gluttony. And let's take a look at this Pokemon's Pokedex entry. It states that Lechonk uses its sense of smell to find and eat only the most fragrant wild grasses and the richest berries. As a result of its dining habits, it has come to radiate an aroma resembling herbs that bug Pokemon dislike. If attacked by an opponent and startled, it will charge forward in a panic. It may appear fat at first glance, but in reality, this Pokemon's body is mostly muscle, built by constantly walking around in search for food. Now, judging by Lechonk's appearance, it doesn't look to be the normal rat of this generation. I strongly doubt it will be, although a lot of people think that it is. I don't think it is, although I could be wrong. Lechonk will probably evolve into a ground type, or maybe something different, but I'm assuming it will evolve into a ground type. Loving it's a little pig Pokemon, so you know I'm going to love it. Well, rather, it's a hog Pokemon, I guess. So it'll probably evolve into a boar. Now let's take a look at Smallev, the olive Pokemon, which is a grass normal type. Wow, okay. I always thought it was a pure grass type, but okay. It's an olive Pokemon. And its ability is Early Bird, which allows it to wake up early from sleeping. So let's take a look at this Pokemon's Pokedex entry. The oil that comes out of its head has a very strong, bitter taste, and it is not suitable for consumption. When startled or attacked, Smallev will shoot out this oil, slowing its opponent down. Then it will seize that moment to run away. In the fruit in its head, Smallev stores oil made from the nutrients it gathers through photosynthesis. As a result, it can go for a week without eating or drinking. It prefers dry and sunny climates, and it seems to spend its days sunbathing. Now, we've always wanted an olive Pokemon. This Pokemon reminds me a lot of Bounsweet or Cherubi, and it makes total sense for this generation's region, which is known as the Paldea region, which takes place in the, what is it called? It's some type of peninsula, but it takes place in Spain. But this is a perfect Pokemon for a Spain region, and I truly like it, and I love its appearance. Next up, let's take a look at Fido, the puppy Pokemon. It's a pure fairy type with the ability of Own Tempo. Now, let's take a look at this Pokemon's Pokedex entry. Fido's moist, smooth skin has elastic qualities and is both firm and soft at the same time. When these Pokemon become excited, they intimidate their opponents by puffing up their bodies and becoming bigger, and puffing up their bodies to appear bigger. Fido ferments things in its vicinity by using the yeast in its breath. Said yeast is useful for cooking, so this Pokemon has been protected by people since long ago. Huh, nice. Fido looks a lot like Yamper, so I figure it will probably have a first evolution. Now let's take a look at Titan, the Terra Whale Pokemon. It's a pure ice type and has the ability of either Thick Fat, which lowers the power of fire and ice moves, or Slush Rush, which boosts its speed and hail. Now, let's take a look at this Pokemon's Pokedex entry. Titan need to have tough muscles to be able to support their immense bodies and physical attacks. Using their bodies have incredible power. They also migrate around the snowy regions, protected by a thick layer of subcutaneous fat. A Titan has 5 hard horns. Among them, the horn on its upper jaw is able to gather ice energy, making the surrounding temperature extremely low and freezing the area around this Pokemon. So it appears this Titan is like a very physical attacking Pokemon, but also has a lot of bulk. And this will be interesting for later in the game. And we also found out that this Pokemon is owned by the Ice-type gym leader. Now let's take a look at Cyclozar, the Mount Pokemon, which is a dragon and normal type, and has the ability of Shed Skin, which allows it to heal from status ailments randomly throughout a battle. Now let's take a look at this Pokemon's Pokedex entry. This Pokemon has lived in many households in the Paldea region since ancient times. It has a mild disposition, and people riding Cyclozar are a very common sight. It appears Cyclozar don't mind being ridden because of the warmth of a rider helps stave off the cold. Cyclozar could sprint over 120 miles while carrying a human. Its extremely hard head and thick lift tail are not only useful for maintaining balance and absorbing shocks while sprinting, they also provide effective ways to attack during battles. Now, an interesting part about Cyclozar that we know is that it gets a new attack called Shed Tail, which allows it to create a substitute and switch out, which is incredibly crazy. Now let's take a look at Acrifyi, the toxic monkey Pokemon, which is a poison normal type, and has the ability of either Unburden, which boosts the user's speed as it uses its held item, or Poison Touch, which poisons the opposing Pokemon that Acrifyi touches. Let's take a look at its Pokedex entry. Acrifyi is nocturnal. Once the sun sets, it licks its hands and fingers to cover them in poison, and then uses it to draw patterns in the trees on its territory. This poisonous saliva is used to paint paralyzed bug Pokemon, which are drawn to the saliva's sweet, fragrant scent. When dawn draws near, Acrifyi goes to collect incapacitated prey. This Pokemon specializes in using its poison saliva, which changes color depending on what the Pokemon eats, to attack foes by spitting at them or slashing at them after coating its claws with saliva. When Acrifyi senses danger, its poison rapidly becomes concentrated, resulting in a potent toxin that, once absorbed, can immobilize a victim for 3 whole days. I love the idea that this Pokemon is based off an eye, and that's such a cool concept. Now let's take a look at Cloth, the ambush Pokemon. It is a pure rock type with a brand new ability called Anger Shell, which lowers its speed but boosts its attack, special attack, and defense. It's basically a free Shell Smash after you reach half health, and Shell Armor, which prevents critical hits. Cloth can rotate its protruding eyeballs to see everything around it, eliminating all blind spots. It latches upside down onto cliffs and ambushes its prey from above. However, Cloth eventually gets dizzy from the blood rushing to its head, so it can't stay upside down too long. Cloth's claws can hold on to things very tightly, not letting prey go once within its grasp. It uses its claw to hold its opponents in place while using the other to break its guard and hit where it hurts. Even if a claw loses its claw in battle or elsewhere, it will grow back after a while. In certain parts of the Paldea region, Cloth's claws are considered a valuable-looking ingredient. Very interesting. Cloth appears to be a really cool Pokemon, and it also is a concept, it's also used as a Titan Pokemon, which is similar to Alpha or Totem Pokemon, which is pretty cool. Now let's take a look at Marouge, the Fire Warrior Pokemon. It is a Fire and Psychic type and has the ability of Flash Fire, which boosts its special attack once hit by a fire move. Armor's set of armor belonged to a distinguished warrior, and its source of energy used for its Psychic type moves. It also uses the psychic capabilities of this armor to control the energy within its body and unleash attacks. Armarouge believes in a fair fight and will challenge an opponent head on no matter how much stronger that opponent is. It specializes in using its sturdy armor to bolster its defenses and take down its enemies with high firepower. Very cool. And now we have the counterpart to Marouge, which is Suur Edge, the Fire Blades Pokemon, which is a fire and ghost type and has the same ability. Suur Edge dons an old set of armor steeped in grudges and wields the blades made of fire and ghost energy. In battle, these blades transformed into great swords to increase Suur Edge's power. Cuts from these great swords leave wounds in which life energy will flow. Suur Edge prefers close quarters combat and isn't above using tactics such as sneak attacks and surprise attacks to win a battle. It uses its quick movements to capitalize on its opponent's blind spots, but closes the distance to slash its opponent with its large blades. Very cool. And then finally, we have Wiglet, the Garden Eel Pokemon, which is a water type, and has the abilities of either Gooey, which lowers the speed of a Pokemon that physically attacks it, and Rattled. Let's read this Pokemon's Pokedex entry. It may look like Diglett, but it's actually a completely different species of Pokemon. Excuse me. Wiglet pokes a part of its body out of the sand to feed in the ocean. It's still unclear what the rest of its body is hidden in the sand, or how long it might be. Boasting an exceptional sense of smell, Wiglet is able to pick up the scents of over 60 feet away. It has a skittish disposition, and is constantly cautious of its surroundings. When it notices the scents of other Pokemon, Wiglet burrows into the sand to conceal itself. Very nice. A lot of people think that this is the concept of conjunctual evolution, which is actually pretty cool. Although a lot of people thought this was a variant form of Diglett, a Paldean form, but it's actually not. Then we have this mysterious Pokemon who we don't know. It's used by Team Star, so we'll have to see what that was. The new villain, quote-unquote villains of this game. And then we have Corydon, who is the box legendary to Scarlet, and it appears you get to ride on it. I wonder what that means for Cyclozar. Then we have Marouge, who's the Violet box legendary, and looks really cool. Now, the last Pokemon we have to look at is, of course, the Paldean form Pokemon, which is, the only one that's been revealed, is Wooper, the Poison Fish Pokemon, which is a poison and ground type, and has the abilities of either Poison Point, which can poison a Pokemon, the opponent, or Water Absorb, which absorbs water type attacks. In ancient times, Wooper lived underwater in the Paldea region, but it seems after losing a struggle for territory, they began living in bogs on land. To keep from drying out while living on land, they began to cover their bodies with poisonous film. Wooper's gills have hardened thanks to living on land for so long. Their bodies are heavy and they move slowly, but they can protect themselves by shooting powerful poisonous liquids from their gill. You may see poisoned Pokemon in areas where these Wooper live. Very nice, and I love the concept of like a poison and ground type Wooper. That's pretty cool. All right, now the last thing I want to get into in this episode is the terrestrial phenomenon, which are basically Terra Pokemon, which creates a jewel and luster each Pokemon. Basically, it gives them a special Terra type, which if you have the right Terra Orb, you can create that Terra type for a Pokemon. This seems to give Pokemon a different advantage, and it's a really cool concept, and I really like it. So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think of all the new Pokemon, and I will see you next time. Bye!